All right. I'm not going to say much because every minute you can have with Ed Mylett, I want you to have with Ed. Okay, well, that's it then. So I'm serious. So Ed's coming out. By the way, if you've never heard Ed before, you're in for a treat. He's an amazing, amazing human being. He has a wonderful podcast. He has a new book called One More, by the way. I accused him of one-upping Jay and I. Yeah, there you go. Wake up, wake up, wake up. All right, so they're going to roll a film and Ed's coming out. Thanks, guys.
The things you want, you're one decision away. One relationship, one meeting. 2, 3, now we're playing with the big boys. One event like this, one thought, one emotion from completely changing your life. You're much closer to your dreams and your visions than you think you are.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. Are you ready for this?
For this? I can't hear you. All right, that's better. All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, that's enough. Grab a seat. How y'all doing? It's great to be with all of you. Hey, listen, they gave me a little over an hour. What do you guys want to do? I'll tell you what I want to do. So, although I speak about 80, 100 nights a year, I'm really not a speaker, I'm an entrepreneur. By the way, that video is as cheesy as it gets. So there's 3 of them. They're all super cheesy, but I asked for the least cheesy of the 3. And the reason is, I should say this first, then I'll tell you what I want to do. The reason I asked for the least cheesy of the 3 is, I don't like, and it is true, Gary said, how do I introduce you? I just say, here's Ed Mylett. And the reason for that is this, it's very easy that we sort of hero make people that have had some success, don't we? And we kind of project onto them like they've got some superhuman characteristics or qualities that maybe you don't have. And the reason I want to allow that to happen is, number one, it's certainly not true with me. I can guarantee you that I'm average, ordinary as it gets. But number 2, I'm not going to let you have the cop-out from winning and being successful. See, if you believed I was somehow special or gifted or incredible or Superman or something like that, then maybe there's a reason why you wouldn't win. But what if I'm average and ordinary? What if I'm barely that and I still won? Now we take all the excuses away. Does that make sense? Say yes. And I'll prove it to you in a minute. Hopefully you'll laugh at a couple of these stories. I'll prove to you absolutely how, man, I've worked real hard to be average and ordinary. What I want to do is this. I want this to be a life-changing hour. Now, I don't take that lightly. I mean, at the end of the hour, I want your life to be measurably better. Not just your business, but your life. And that's a big standard to set when you only have an hour with friends like I have. By the way, many of you are like family to me. First off, I'm responsible. I know Keller Williams does 1 in 5 real estate deals in the United States, which is an unbelievably crazy statistic. But I'm responsible for a lot of those deals, FYI, just so you know. Personal transactions. I think the world of your leader, Gary. This company has such an amazing culture, and when you meet the leader, you understand why. I've always wanted to meet Gary. He's been a hero of mine for a long time, and then we had a pre-call to do this, and I got off the call. My wife's like, what's wrong with you? You keep smiling. And I said, it's great when you meet someone who's a hero and they exceed your expectations. And he did that, and so I want to acknowledge that. So now, ironically, the rest of this hour isn't about me, it's going to be about you. And so let me just kind of set the premise first. There's something I believe about you that I want to say, and I don't say this in like a general term. It comes from my faith, but even if you don't share my faith, you can share my belief, which is this. I believe you were born to do something great with your life. I want you to hear me. I want you to not look at your phone, and I want you to look at me. You've come a long way. 2023 is not going to be an easy year. There's some things you need, I'm about to say. But the first thing is this, either a reminder or an introduction to you, which is that you were born to do something great with your life. You were, you. And oftentimes, we think we're disqualified. By the way, greatness isn't always on Instagram. Not everybody knows the great things you're gonna do in your life. Oftentimes, the smallest things when we're doing them end up having the biggest ripple effects that change people's lives. But if we don't walk around knowing we were born to do something great, we may miss the very opportunities to do it. There's a few lies in life that most people buy into. And I'm gonna give you what a couple of them are to begin with. Number one, most people think they're disqualified from becoming mega successful. Let me tell you what they do. They think their past disqualifies them. Their sins, their mistakes, their setback. You don't know, man, I've had a divorce. You don't know, I failed in this other business. You don't know, in the last down real estate market, I lost it all. You don't know what I'm addicted to. You don't know my mistakes. You don't know my weaknesses. You don't know what I'm not good at. You don't know, I've always been average and ordinary. I've always been invisible, and so that disqualifies me from being successful. Does any of that sound familiar? Say yes. So what you do regularly is you disqualify yourself. And what I'm saying to you, what if the truth was that your greatest mistakes are the very things that do qualify you to change people's lives? What if that's the case? See, in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, which is the second best book ever written other than The Power of One More. I mean that. In the book, he says something really interesting that most people miss. He says, if you can survive temporary pain, on the other side of temporary pain, you will meet another version of you. If you can survive the temporary, on the other side of that pain, which, by the way, all pain is temporary. The only thing permanent is our soul. Even our bodies are temporary. So all pain, no matter what it is, if it's physical pain, the 2023 market, whatever it is temporary. And if you can survive it, on the other side of it, you will meet personality traits, emotions, thoughts, people, circumstances, versions of you that you didn't know existed before. Let me give you a perfect example. I'm not the guy up in that video. Let me tell you who I really am. Let's set the stage. I'm the son of an alcoholic and a drug addict. That's who I am. My dad was an alcoholic and a drug addict the first 15 years of my life. So I come from a dysfunctional family. Do any of you come from any dysfunction in your lives, yes or no? By the way, it's interesting. Dysfunction, by the way, can be alcohol, drugs, divorce, financial failure. Maybe there wasn't a lot of love in your house. Maybe here's a biggie. A good friend of mine called me when my book came out. It's the #1 nonfiction book in the world this year. She said, I'm so proud of you, Eddie, the way you grew up with all the dysfunction in your house and the neglect for what you've achieved. And we were in kindergarten. My wife and I met in kindergarten, and this friend of mine and I met in kindergarten. And I said, Jen, you know I love you. I shouldn't say her last name. And she's married to a guy from my high school class also. And I said, I think there's dysfunction in your home. I think you neglect your kids. She said, what? I don't drink, we don't use drugs, we've been married 25 years. I said, the most insidious form of child neglect in the world is a child being raised by a parent who's not in pursuit of their potential or their dreams. You're neglecting your children. Careful, you're neglecting your children. Because what you're saying is, sweetheart, you can be anything you want to be. Why aren't you, mama? Son, you can be happy and joyful and have an amazing life. But they know, don't they? They see you driving them to school every morning. They see the rear view. They know the joy or the lack thereof, the success, the lack thereof. See, your kids will always love you, but at one point, we all wake up and figure out who our parents are in the world, don't we? Yes or no? And we kind of hide from that ourselves. But you are neglecting your children when you're not in the pursuit of your greatness. See, here's an interesting thing about this disqualification thing. Yeah, my dad got sober. And about 6 months ago, my dad passed away. That's why I wrote The Power of One More. And when my dad got sober, I was very proud of him. And I'll never forget this. I was in bed about 6 months ago, my wife, and I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd already written the book. My dad's already passed away. And I was crying. And I said, babe, she goes, what's wrong? What's going on? I said, babe, I'm 51 years old. I said, babe, someone helped daddy. She said, what? I said, someone helped daddy. She goes, someone helped my dad get sober. When my dad was gonna lose his family, maybe lose his life, I don't know who they are, because it's an anonymous program, but some dark alley or a bar or some hospital, I don't know, some precious human being stepped forward and said, I could help you. And that one human being, they don't know I'm my dad's son. They don't know that one little act of I can help you has changed millions of people's lives across the world. I'm Ed Mylett's son. They don't know that. They just saw a person in pain and they helped them. And in that moment, that was a small act of greatness that ended up reverberating into a massive act of greatness. Isn't that incredible? One human being changed my dad's life. The power of one more meeting, one more conversation, one more person who says, I'll help you. That's not the craziest part. The craziest part is what qualified that human being to help my dad? The thing they were the most ashamed of in their whole life. They at one time were a drug addict. They were a drunk. They were a liar. They lived in the shadows. They know exactly what it was like to be my dad. They were immensely qualified to help my father get sober. In fact, without that, they would have never been qualified to help him. God will use the things you think that disqualify you, if you see it correctly, to be the very thing that does qualify you. If all your life you've never made any money or never known anything about real estate, and you meet people that don't either, and you say, I used to be like you, but now I know, let me help you. If you used to be broke and you no longer are, you can help broke people. If you used to be broke in and you no longer are, you can help broken people. The very things that you think disqualify you from winning are the very things that do qualify you. Can I get an amen to that? Say yes. And the more you understand this, stop feeding yourself this shame or these negative thoughts, or you don't understand my situation. What I know is you were born to do something great. What I know is all those things are making you a better version of you if you can survive the temporary. I'm fired up today, by the way, like legit, right? Like I'm legit fired up. Because when difficult times come, this is when real leaders emerge. There are gonna be a lot of people you interact with that are scared, that are concerned, that are worried. And it's your ability to say, I know exactly what that's like. I can help you in every area of your life. And what I believe is there's this theory. I used to have this leader in my company, always wanted to win, always wanted to be somebody, always wanted to do something great for my life. I always wanted my family to be proud of me, just like you do. I was tired of being invisible. I was tired of being the son of an alcoholic and a little guy and a not very smart guy and a mess. I wanted to be somebody, and so do you, deep in your heart. And by the way, deep, deep, deep in your heart, you've always known you were supposed to be somebody. You've always known. Some of you have gotten really close. Some of you have really got something really going right now. And the shame would be that you think this is it, when there's more. All my life I want to be somebody. And I had this leader, he'd go, the difference between winning and losing, man. He'd go, it's so small. He'd put his fingers up like this. He'd go, the difference between happiness and not so happy, winning and losing, it's so small, it's too scary to talk about. And then he'd hold his fingers up like this, and I'm like, dude, what is this? Tell me this and I'll do it. Don't just tell me it's scary. What the hell is the thing? You ever feel that way? Like, if you tell me, I'll do it. And here I am, 51 years old, hundreds of millions of dollars later. Millions of lives changed. I know what it is. I freaking know what it is. It's one more. The separator is one more. Here's the lie. You have a vision. The Bible says where there's no vision, the people will perish. Nobody in here is perishing today. Here's the deal. You have vision. You have vision. If I said, you want to be happy or sad, which would you say? Right. Rich or poor? You want to have a life of like contribution and memories, or like none of that? You know, you got a vision. Here's your issue. It's not a lack of vision. It's a depth perception issue. It's depth perception. You think it's further away than it is. And because you think it's so far away, you've created patterns, belief systems, and thoughts in your life that perpetually keep it there. Yep. Some of you, it's happiness that you think is really far away. And you're like, no, once I'm making millions, then I'll be happy. Or what? It takes 20 years to make $1 million a year. Because you believe that, find me in 20 years, it'll still be 20 years away. But what if the truth is that changing your life is one away? One decision, one meeting, one conversation, one extra phone call, one extra rep in the gym, one more time a day you tell your daughter you love her. You start stacking up those one mores. That's the separator. In life, we don't get our goals. Hey, just FYI, we get our standards. You meet somebody who doesn't have self-confidence, this is someone who's perpetually not keeping promises they make to themselves. You meet somebody with pretty good baseline confidence, you've met somebody who now keeps the promises they make to themselves. You meet somebody doing superhuman things, they keep the promises they make to themselves, and they do one more. See, I haven't run on a treadmill. I did it this morning. I haven't done 45 minutes on a treadmill in 25 years, but I've done a bunch of 45 plus 1 more minutes. I haven't done 8 reps on a bench press in decades, but I've done 8 and 1 more. Most dads in here tell their daughters they love them every day. So I don't do that. I tell mine 1 more every day. There's a power to 1 more. There's a power to 1 more. When you start stacking up those 1 mores, not only have you put more contacts out into the universe, but you start believing, I'm doing something most people aren't willing to do. I'm fixing to get something most people aren't gonna get. And I'm proof of it. I'll give you an extreme example really fast. I belong to a golf club that's well, any of you live in Southern Cal? I belong to the Madison Club in La Quinta. Any of you that live out here? Might be the most exclusive club in the country. Tom Brady, John Elway, Ed Mylett, right? Jerry West, I don't know, Adele, Ellen, the Kardashians, Kris Jenner, you know, all of us. And top business moguls in the world. And it's a cool place. And I got the best house in there, by the way. But anyway, it's interesting. When I joined that club, I was the youngest member and by far the most broke member of that club. And in fact, let me tell you how I ended up there first. This is important. I want to prove to you what a dope I am. So I was broke and I was in the financial business, and I'm rolling up to a meeting one day. I'm pulling up to a meeting in my Honda CRX. Anybody old enough to remember Honda CRXs? This thing was such a piece of crap, I would park it 2 blocks away from my client's house because I figured if they see this car, it's gonna disqualify me, right? And so I parked my car that night, and I really needed this sale. Let me tell you how badly I needed it. I was out of Cal State, LA, and I had no gas in my CRX. And if I don't close this sale, I have not enough gas money to get back home to my wife down here. I don't have the money. And I went in, gave my presentation. I thought it went really well. At the end, they said, well, let us think about it, which is like code for leave our house now so we can watch Monday Night Football, right? So I walk out, I walk down the street, and when I'm getting near my car, back in those days, car stereos were all getting broken into. You remember those days? Like if you had like a Kenwood, remember Kenwoods? Or Alpine. I'm figuring I'm safe because I got a Sanyo, but whatever. And I could see the glass from the passenger side. As I'm walking, I'm like, crap, they broke in a car, they stole the Sanyo. Who the hell steals a Sanyo? And I get to my car, they didn't take my stereo. They took my passenger seat. You gotta be a very super specific criminal to be on the hunt for a passenger seat of a Honda CRX. My dumb ass rolls right up with what you're looking for. And I parked 2 blocks from where I could see my car. They stole my seat. For about a year, that was a rock. You rode in my car getting field trained, you're sitting on a rock in that passenger seat. That night I was so broke, I had to go to I know exactly where I was. I don't remember the exit, but there's a McDonald's and then there's a gas station there. And I sat at that gas station for about an hour asking for money so I could get enough money to put gas in my car to drive back down here. Everyone said no. So I finally went over to the McDonald's. And this is scary. I stood in the drive-through line. And I said, finally, this family came up. I said, listen, I'll give you the money back. I don't have $20. The ATM won't spit out less than 20s. If you'd be willing to float me, I promise you that I'll pay you back. Just give me a week. I'll give you my name and address and you give me yours. And they did, and I did pay them back. They gave me $10. And when I got back to my house, my apartment that night, we were now living in an apartment because I had had a home foreclosed on and our electricity was turned off. And I remember my wife went out to work one morning and she comes back in, she goes, you're not gonna believe this, now my car's stolen. So our power's turned off, my house was foreclosed on, we're living in an apartment right down in this area. I lived in Monarch Beach, up in the hill, and I said, this can't get any worse. Except as she comes back to the house, I see the tow truck. So her car wasn't stolen, it was repossessed. And then about a week after that, our water got turned off. You can have a lot of things in your life happen. Power's bad, water, you can't cook, you can't bathe. So every morning for 6 weeks, My wife, who just had married me, who grew up with me as a little boy, telling her we were gonna have a beach house someday, I was gonna change the world, great things were gonna happen. She's now living in an apartment with no water. She's got 2 jobs because I can't make money living on commission. And every morning we would get up and we'd gather our stuff in this little plastic box and we would walk down. The pool had an outdoor shower. You ever can picture an apartment building with one of those outdoor showers? And I would hold a towel up while my new bride would take her shower and brush her teeth outside. And then we would switch and she'd hold the towel up and I'd brush my teeth and take a shower. And all our neighbors knew. We walked back to the apartment, I remember this. We walked back to the apartment, I was completely ashamed. I'm out here trying to sell a dream while I'm living a nightmare. Any of you relate to that? I'm selling a dream, living a nightmare. So finally, I got my stuff together and I worked pretty hard and I'd saved up about $6,000 through this difficult time. Water got turned back on, I'd saved $6,000. I'm like, babe, the reason people aren't buying into me is my car sucks. If I have a really nice car, everybody will take me more seriously because I'm also young. And so now I'm in the penny saver and I'm looking for Mercedes-Benz 600 SLs. True story, true story. And I'm looking through the penny saver, 50 grand, 60 grand, 70 grand, 65 grand. Get on one, 6,500 bucks. It says Mercedes-Benz SL, parentheses, kinda. It's a true story. In fact, I'll prove it to you. Watch this. Can we put that screen up? Back there? There it is. Here's what it was. It ain't a Mercedes. It's a Chrysler LeBaron. It's a kit car. Most of you don't know what a kit car is because you're not stupid like me. A kit car is not a real car. It's a piece of crap car that welded onto it is a really nice car's body. So what this one was a Chrysler LeBaron with a Mercedes-Benz body on it. A couple problems with that. Number one, the LeBaron's 2 feet longer and has a back seat, and the real one doesn't, but I can overlook that. And so I called this lady, she lives in Dana Point. I said, hey, listen, I'm interested in your kind of Mercedes, not sure what a kit car is. Can I come check it out? I've got some money in my pocket, burning a hole, need me a Benz. This is me. So when you look at this video with the jets, you can get some perspective now. I've had 6 jets, by the way. I drive down there, and I get to the car, and it's a hoopty. She's like, look, first things first. She's like, the heater runs full time. I know it's Southern California. That's probably a problem for you. It rattles like crazy, and it's got a back seat. She goes, I'll just be honest with you. You fool about half the people. The other half of the people are laughing so hard at you, it's ridiculous. She goes, but you seem like a really good salesman. You could probably sell people that it was real. I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, it works out for me. I go, tell you what, I'll give you $5,000. She goes, I'll take 6. I go, deal. I give her the $6,000. As I give her the $6,000, she goes, the power of one more. She goes, one more thing. She goes, you know that Mercedes body? I go, yeah, welded on the car. I got it. It's a LeBaron. She goes, it's not welded on. I said, how's it on then? She goes, Velcro. I go, hand away from the grill, Miss Methamphetamine. Tell me exactly what is holding this car together. Velcro. I just bought a Velcroed fake Mercedes Chrysler LeBaron with the heater running from you. She says, yes, you did, honey. She goes, oh, one more thing. The front left headlight, the Velcro's really loose. If you pull up to a stoplight too quick, that thing flies off into the intersection. Now, Mr. Unbelievable, private jet, are you ready for this? Blah, blah, blah. More than 100 times in this man's life right here, I have actually done exactly that and pulled up to the intersection a little too abruptly. Hit the brake, whoop! My own headlight flies off into the intersection. Hey, Forbes magazine named me the fastest growing businessman in the history of social media. And I'm telling you, if there was social media back in the late 90s, I'd have been the most viral dude in history. You imagine you're at a stoplight, some dude pulls up, whoop, his light flies off into the intersection. The next thing you see is some dude in a Men's Warehouse suit shut the door and run into the intersection and stop 4-way traffic, pick up his headlight, run. Now you're looking at the car going, that has a back seat. I then run to my own car and stick the Velcro on there. So now you know it's Velcroed together. And then I get back in the car. Can you imagine if there were cell phone videos back then? I'd be, by the way, I haven't told a story in a while. More than 30 of those 100, I shut the door too hard and it fell off. You think I'm playing with you? I drove that car for 6 years. The third year I owned it, I made 750 grand in like 2000 nothing. The fifth year it got stolen. And the cop the cop comes back to my house. He goes, hey man, we found your car. It's 5 houses down. The dude figured out what it is. He left the keys in it for you. You imagine you're all excited. You're stealing a Mercedes. You get in this piece of shit. Heaters blowing, rattling, headlight flies off. He's like, shit, just leaves the keys and leaves my car down the street. True story. I'll prove it to you. By the way, there's the ad. Full body kit, Chrysler LeBaron. By the way, I'm such a liar. I had a sales team back then, and that was the year, I'm not kidding you, that Chrysler and Mercedes had actually merged. True story. And I'm telling my team, this is the first ever hybrid vehicle. Because everything's framing. And then, hey, by the way, just for fun, which one do you think is my car? Which one's the real car? So if you think my car is the silver white one, say aye. And if you think the real one is the silver white one, say nay. So is the silver white one mine or is it the fake? Which one do you think it is? Okay, that one's my car. How do you know? Look at the left headlight, man. See the gap in the Velcro? See it right there. I'm not playing with you. I went from that to a Global Express jet. I went from that to owning my own island. Right? Now, why do I tell you all that? I tell you all that because if I can do this crap, you can do anything. You're in a better industry. You're with the best company. You got time on your side. The question then becomes, how do you make this change? Well, the first thing is you have to leverage, you can pull that down, guys. You have to leverage what you're good at. So let me tell you something. I only have 2 skills. I'm gonna share with you what they are and where they came from, because if you survive the temporary, you get introduced. Oh, I heard that earlier. So I have 2 skills. I'll tell you what they are first, because I've been not falsely humble, I've been truthful with you. I drove that freaking car for 6 years. 6 years. Let me tell you what my skills are. I got 2. I love people, and I'm present with people. I think if you don't watch my podcast, you're missing the best podcast in the world, especially for what you do. It's the #1 business podcast in the world. I'm just telling you. It's the #1 personal development business podcast in the world. And I'll say this bragging because I just told you the truth about me. By a mile. Nothing's close. And I know why. I get people to say things they would never say, and I become very close to anybody who's been on my show. If you're with me in my presence, I'm good at this. You'll feel like you're the most important person in the world, and that I love you, and I believe in you. And by the way, it's true. And the second thing I'm good at is I'm a good communicator. I've made hundreds of millions with those 2 skills. Let me tell you where they come from. Did I mention earlier my dad was an alcoholic? Oh yeah, I did. So let me tell you where it comes from. My dad, when he would go on these drinking binges, would say, hey, you're the man of the house when I leave. And I had to protect my mom and my sisters from my father. So when my dad would come home from drinking, I had to read him right where he came the front door. A 5-year-old little boy, I'd watch my daddy, I'd watch my own father come through the front door. If I determined he was drinking, I would say, Mama, go upstairs and take a bath. Mimi, grab Andrea and Erica, you guys go play in your room. And I would be left with this man downstairs. I'll never tell you what happened if I was left with him those times downstairs. I won't do that. So what I would have to do, now by the way, if he wasn't drinking, I would just say, hey, we could have dinner. So at 5, I start reading my father and being fully present. Not playing around. I was never a little boy. I never was a little boy. He'd come through the door and I'd start reading him. How's he dressed? How's his tie? How's he walking? What's his physiology? What's he smell like? What's his words sound like? How's he pronouncing things? And if I could read him. And if he was drinking, I would tell my mom, my sisters to go upstairs, and I would then grab my dad's hand and start to talk. I said, I had to get him away from the liquor cabinet. The liquor cabinet, if my dad was already drunk and he got over there, let me tell you what my dad would do. He'd get in there, and if he got to the liquor cabinet, my dad's drink was Beefeater's gin. My dad would have a glass there ready to go. He'd pour that full glass. drink 8. 8. I know it was 8 because I counted them every time because I was fully present. And people always ask me, when you played baseball, what was your number? I wore 8. I played position 8, center field. I wore number 8 because 8 was so prevalent. So I had to get him away from that liquor cabinet. So what I would do is I'd grab his hand, Daddy, and I'd start to talk. Daddy, I got a 93 on my spelling test. I hit 2 home runs. You did? Where'd you hit the home run? Over right field fence. What'd they throw you? Curveball. You really? And I'd get him over to the couch. And he'd, that's awesome, Eddie. So what did you do today, Dad, that you're proud of? I had a good meal and my 1 o'clock was... And I would get him talking. And if I could get him to tell me about his day and communicating and getting focused on what he was proud of, I put a post out about this on Instagram today. In your day at night, focus on what you're proud of, not what you're just grateful for. Proud of. You run the highlight reel of the things you're proud of. Your reticular activating system the next day will go to work on making new memories that you're proud of. If I could talk him into it, I could get him on the couch. We were cool. Little did I know as a little boy that the most painful experience a child could go through, on the other side of that pain, I was building the skills that I would use to reach hundreds of millions of people. My ability to be present with people, read people, love people, understand human nature, understand the development of human beings, at the same time communicate. Those 2 skills were born out of the worst things in my life. So if I'm right about that, I'm right about this with you. I am right about this with you. And you have to start to buy into this. And I'm gonna tell you something, my dad then got sober. I'm 15, we're driving to a Little League game. I'll never forget it. My dad never cried, had never told me he loved me in my life. He's driving me, I'm watching my dad. We'd gone to Carl's Jr. and picked up a hamburger for me before the game. We're driving, and I'm watching my father cry, and I'm reading him, and he pulls over in the car, and we're parked on the side of Diamond Bar Boulevard. And he's crying, and he goes, Eddie, and he's still not looking at me, and he goes, I'm gonna try to stop drinking one more time. I'm gonna give it one more try. One more try. And I said, Daddy, what would be different this time? He said, I'm gonna do this because I love you. And you deserve a daddy you can be proud of, Eddie. See, why do I tell you this story? You can clap for that. I tell you this story because if you're gonna do anything great with your life, you have to find what your inspiration is, and your inspiration has to be bigger than the adversity. Well, what's my inspiration? I don't know, but I can tell you the 2 categories, they only come from 2 places. Your dreams and the people you love. My dad leveraged love. As it turns out, my dad loved me more than this disease had gripped him. As it turns out. You need to ask yourself, do you love your family more than the adversity you're facing? Do you love your family more than the fear you have of making the contacts and the phone calls? Do you want to make them so proud of you and you love them so much that you'll do absolutely anything as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral to win for your family? You need to decide that. My dad did it. But then my dad got sober, one more popped back up again. He came home and he was sober. I said, Daddy, are you never going to drink again the rest of your life? What did I expect him to say? Yes. He didn't. He said, I can't promise you that. What I can promise you is I'm not going to drink for one more day at a time. And that ended up lasting the rest of my father's life. So that's awesome, right? So when I get up here, when I come up here and I say, listen, I believe human beings can change. I watched my hero do it. The reason I'm the dominant person in personal development and life change is because I watched my hero do it. I know if my dad can change, you can change. I know it. I watched it. It's awesome. And it's the power of one more try. You know what happened the day that I walked up those stairs when her car got repoed? I called Dad. I said, Dad, I'm out. I'm getting a job. It's too much. I'm living a nightmare. This is crazy what I'm putting the family through. And calmly, my father replied back. He goes, you know, all these people always tell you, you got to decide you're never going to quit. He goes, that's BS. That's convention talk. That's a terrible book. He goes, Eddie, you just need to decide you're not going to quit for one more day. Just don't quit today. Just don't quit today. I'm not going to drink today. You don't quit today. See how you feel tomorrow. Put the work in. Just don't quit for today. And you know what? The next day I still wanted to quit, but not quite as much. And the next day, not quite as much. And eventually the emotion of quitting had left me. And I'm standing here because I stacked one mores up in my life. Does that make sense to you? Please say yes, please. Right? Let me tell you what I found out. Okay, I'm gonna show you some of the keys I've had for influence. What are some of the things that I found that all great leaders, all great salespeople, all great marketing people have in common? So I'll show you a picture of a few people. You can pull these people up, guys. So here's some people you're probably familiar with. Jobs, Oprah. I just felt like I wanted to be up there with them, so there you go. Kris Jenner, who's my neighbor. She's a wonderful woman. Put Rachel in there. Elon Musk, he's made a couple waves recently. What do these people have in common? They're very different. Would you agree? They're very different. How about these? Andy Frisella, my coaching partner in my program. I have him next to Mother Teresa because it's freaking hilarious. So, Zuck, Martha, Dwayne Johnson, who's on my show in March, and my hero, Martin Luther King, who I wrote my dissertation. Would you agree these people are all very diverse, very different human beings, different skills? Would you agree? Say yes. So what is it that they have in common? What does a great mother do that an average mother doesn't? What does a great salesperson do that an average one doesn't? What does a great broker do? A great manager do? A great leader do that these people do that most don't, that I've learned? Let me tell you what it is. They're evangelical about their cause. They're literally evangelists for their message and their cause. There's a great book written by a guy named Guy Kawasaki. Guy is the dude who did all the marketing for Apple, the Macintosh. And he said, the great gift is this: you gotta sell a big enough dream that the dreams of everybody you come in contact with can fit inside the one you're selling. You have to be evangelical about your mission and your cause. What does that mean? Here's what it means. You are always making people feel something. Are you aware of that? You are always making people feel something. Great ones are intentional about what those people are feeling. Average people are so worried about what people are thinking about them, they're oblivious to the fact of what they make other people feel. So when you have that agent in your office that's like, she's goofy, she's weird, she doesn't do all the things by the book, she doesn't make and she's dominating everybody, here's what she's better at than you are. She's more intentional, even if it's unconsciously, about what people feel when she's around them. And you're oblivious to it. What is it that people feel when they're around? When they're around, you're like, man, let me tell you what most people make the mistake of. I'll give you some more subtle stuff. This is great note-taking. Average marketers, average salespeople, average persuaders have been trained to say words and do things to get people to believe what they're saying. I'll say it to you again. Average, try to get people to believe what they're saying. You're like, yeah, that's the whole point. The whole point is if they believe what I'm saying, then they'll make the offer, or they'll accept the offer, or we'll do the deal, or I'll get the listing. Not true. That's your problem. When you're trying to get people to believe what you're saying, you come across as underneath them, a little beggarish, a little subservient. See, the great ones do something very subtle that makes them evangelical. Here's what they do. They're not focused on trying to get people to believe what they're saying. They're focused on trying to get people to believe they believe what they're saying. Did you catch that? I'm not trying to get you to believe anything I'm saying today, but you damn well are gonna leave here believing I believe it. And that's influence. People don't have to believe what you're saying. They have to believe you believe what you're saying. And when you do that, now you're making people feel the thing that causes them to react. This is just a thought, it's just a subtlety, but if you meditate on it, you ponder, you go, yeah, I do, I am, yeah, I need to take this position, this frame of, I believe this. That's all the level of influence that needs to be met. That's the standard. I'll prove it to you. What is it that they need to feel? What do all the great marketers sell? What's the thing they sell? Is it the square footage? Is it the quality of their food? Is it the pricing? Is it their level of service? You don't think other agents, when they talk to people, are talking about those things? You think that's a separating message? Really? I'll tell you what I found out, because I know them all. What all the great leaders I know have in common. What do they actually sell? What's the product that they sell that they then correlate to what they're doing? This is huge. The number one marketers in the world, you can pull it down, guys. The number one marketers in the world sell a really simple emotion. Because let me say something to you. You don't want to be worth $100 million. You want how you think it'll make you feel. You don't want to have a loving relationship in your life. You want it because of how you think it'll make you feel. Right? You don't want to even help people. You want to help people because of how you believe it'll make you feel. We are all chasing emotions in our life. That's what people are doing. So people respond. You know, facts tell, stories sell. You make decisions, emotionally and rationalize them logically. Throw all that out the window. People are chasing emotions. The number one emotion people want in their life, you know what do they want to be more of? happier. Happier. So what's going on in my frame and my messaging all the time when I'm talking is, this will make you happier. This will make you happier. Now, I actually have to believe it to persuade you authentically. You can't transfer to somebody something that you are not actually experiencing. You actually have to believe it. But it's happiness. I'll prove it to you. You know who the #1 holder of real estate in the world is, right? It's McDonald's. You know who the #1 distributor of food in the world is? Same company. So one company dominates the planet in holding of property and distribution of food. Are there two more important businesses in the world than that? And one company dominates both of those? Oh, by the way, the distribution of food thing, is that because of the quality of the food? Is it because of the health benefits of the food? Huh, interesting. So you should probably keep selling that all the time. That's interesting. So how do they end up being in the business of owning the most real estate and selling the most food when the product's not very good, isn't very healthy, clogs arteries? Is it the unbelievable talent level of their day-to-day people on the floor? Is it their massive compensation package and impeccable reputation? No. Ray Kroc's a genius. You nailed it. Will you stop taking my thunder, please? You're too smart. You're reading ahead. Ray Kroc was in the happiness business. You just said it. I'll prove it to you. What's the #1 thing they sell? They're called a what? Oh, shit. You imagine the first day he walks in, he goes, hey, I know we sell hamburgers here, but we need a mascot. What? We need a mascot? This is a hamburger place, dumbass. No. We need a mascot. And you know what it is? I know exactly what goes with hamburgers. Clowns. Imagine them, hear me out. You imagine the first meeting? We all take it for granted now. Ronald McDonald goes, we need a clown, full makeup, yellow, red, and orange gear. That'll move all the burgers. You imagine being in that marketing meeting going, what in the freaking world? Now you all take it for granted. Oh, by the way, in the store itself, the #1 thing they sell actually isn't hamburgers or fries. The #1 thing they sell is it's a sugary carbonated beverage that if you drink enough of it, you'll get diabetes. If you don't die from the heart attack the hamburger will give you. It's called a Coca-Cola. And guess what you get when you get a Coke? You get a Coke and holy crap. Let me tell you about the price per square foot over here, Sally and Bob. You keep doing that. You keep doing that. Oh, there's this other company. Probably none of you have any of their products in here. I snuck one. I don't know where you find them. It's an Apple product. You ever heard of them? Apple? Yeah, anybody got a product of theirs or know anybody who has a product of theirs? It's the most revolutionary company in the history of the world. Now, they don't dominate food distribution or real estate, but they actually dominate something a level above that, which is information and connectivity. They're the dominant player in that. One of the co-founders of that company, Steve Wozniak's actually a good friend of mine. He's still alive. And he's come to my events and taught my team, and Woz is a bit of a savant. In fact, most people don't know this. Steve would be the richest man in the world had he not given away most of his stock to the employees. He's a beautiful man. And I asked him, I said, Woz, why Apple? Why'd you name it Apple? He says, oh, Ed, well, A came early in the phone book, so we figured that would be good, but that's not really why. I said, well, why? He goes, because Steve said apples made him happy. He goes, in fact, Steve's whole deal was about marketing happiness. I go, is that the evangelical thing? Yeah. He goes, in fact, go to YouTube and watch Tim Cook, the current CEO of Apple. Cookie's my neighbor. And I'm always telling him, Cookie, quit selling the freaking pixels on the camera, man. You ever seen the Google commercials for theirs? I'm like, Cookie, 3 people own their phone in the world because they keep selling pixels. Your company should be selling happiness still. Go to YouTube and watch Steve Jobs roll out a Mac. Go do it tonight. He'd go, hey, this is a Mac with gigs and megs and whatever. And he goes, hey, how happy would you be if this beauty was sitting on your lap? Look at her curves. Look at the sounds. You hear the sounds? Isn't it beautiful? How happy would you be to have this beauty on your lap? That's how he sold the product. So, if McDonald's did it, Apple did it, why aren't you doing it? It's what I do. Ultimately, my message today was that I want you to believe you can be happier. Actually, I don't care. I want you to believe I believe you can be happier. You can make your own conclusion. So how do we do that? How do we get going in our life? How do we move things forward? How do we begin to how do we shift our life? I'm giving you a suggestion. I think you need to start to compete a little bit. I think you got an issue. Let me tell you what I think one of your issues is. Well, I'll explain it to you in a story of a friend. Better put, I am a big stand-up comedian fan because I think they're the best speakers in the world. I just got picked the #1 speaker in the world. Another thing had me number 5. I've sent in a few emails about that. But anyway, I got to tell you something. The best speakers in the world are stand-up comedians. And so I watch them all the time. I've had a lot of them on my show. I've had Sebastian Maniscalco, I've had Dane Cook, I've had Nikki Glaser, Whitney Cummings, Frank Caliendo, others. I just think they're incredible. And so I'm watching Netflix with my wife a few months back, and there's this brilliant man on there named David Arnold. And I loved his stand-up because his stand-up was not only unbelievably hilarious, but it was also motivational. He kept talking about how it took him 20 years to get on the main stage, and he would walk miles and miles both ways to the Comedy Store, hoping to get put up on the stage, and no one thought he was funny. And he says, I tell my daughters, you gotta have that thing, man. You gotta have that thing, that dog in you that wants it. And he said, and then the rest of his special was about his family. I've never seen a comedian do this. Like, it's about his wife and his daughters and his dad. He has multiple dads and his mom, and I thought, this is just incredible. And then after the special, I've never seen a comedian do this. On Netflix, he walks Julie, his wife, and his 2 daughters out on the stage and says, this is who I've been telling you about. Proud of his family. And then he goes, in fact, I don't want you just to know them. I want you to know the rest of my family. So I filmed a documentary about my dads that you can watch now. I was moved. And so I DM him on Instagram. I said, hey, David, it's Ed Mylett. I'm sitting here on the couch with my wife. I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm moved. I think you're incredible. I'd love you to come on my show. I want to give you a platform for more people to know you. He already had the #1 special on Netflix, #1 show on Nickelodeon. 3 seconds later, message back, he goes, hey, is this Ed Mylett? Ed Mylett, babe, it's Ed Mylett, Ed Mylett. He goes, man, I'd love to do your show. Let's knock it out. And I messaged him back. I go, Dwayne Johnson had to reschedule Tuesday. I know you live in LA. Let's do it Tuesday. He goes, oh, bro, I'm sorry, I'm filming a movie in Atlanta. It's gonna be several months. I'm like, okay, well, we'll do it another time. He goes, no, you know what, man? Could we do it at like 8 in the morning on Tuesday? I said, yeah. He goes, I'll take the red eye back from Atlanta on Monday night. I'll land at LAX around 6. I'll get over to you by 8. We'll do the interview. I'll get back. I won't miss shooting that night. I said, you would do that? He goes, I really want to come on, man. I go, okay. He comes on. We have an amazing conversation. We connect like you can't believe. He's hilarious, and, well, I'll show you. Here's a clip. You'll laugh your butt off. Go ahead, guys.
100% true story. Bakersfield. I got arrested for a fix-it ticket. I was driving a car that did not have it didn't have seatbelts on it. They wanted me to put seatbelts in the car. I found out it cost $600 to put seatbelts in a car I paid $600 for. I'm not going to do that. So I was like, I'm going to drive this car till it falls over, and it did. And I left it on the side of the road. And I just walked home, and I never thought about that car ever again. And I was somewhere drinking with my friends at Edwards Air Force Base like 2 years later. And they ran my name, and a warrant came up, and it was a fix-it ticket that had turned into a warrant. The hardest part of being in there was eating that food without any salt. My mother was like, they're raping people in there, people are getting shanked, and your complaint is that there is no salt.
This is awesome. So when you're around David, you can put that picture up of us, guys. When you're around David, man, you laugh and you just feel connected. And we had this amazing connection. Can you show that picture of us? Go back and show that one picture of David and I. That's us right after the show. And we just got really close. In fact, on the show, he says to me, I'm going to know you the rest of my life, man. I said, brothers for life, no question about it. And again, I want to really encourage you to listen to my podcast. It's called The Ed Mylett Show. It's free. And so the show comes out the next week and it blows up. And he's in his kitchen on Tuesday going, brother, I got 6,000 messages. I said, bro, you're gonna be filling up those arenas we talked about. He's like, bro, I can't thank you enough. I go, it's not me, dude. I just sat there. It's all you. You're absolutely incredible. So glad this is happening. The next morning, he messaged me again. It's like 9:15. He goes, Julie, tell him, I got 24,000 DMs, dude. I've never seen anything like this in my damn life. I said, he goes, bro, this is just, I can't even thank you enough. This platform is unbelievable. I said, no, brother, it was all you. I video him back. About 9:52, he goes, hey, man, thank you. That's very kind of you. He goes, hey, listen, how about Monday? We'll come down the beach. You and I'll smoke some cigars. The wives will meet. Then we'll go do dinner at the Montage. This is like 9:52. 9:54, I go, hey, brother, yeah, I got you. Let's do it Monday night. See you here at 6 o'clock. And I give him the address and the gate code. 9:58, he died. You ever be texting with someone you can see the ... coming, that they're about to reply? I saw the ... and no reply came in. He's gone. Like that. A week later, I was asked to speak at the celebration of his life. Like that. See, here's your deal. Brother, sister, I just say this to you as a friend. You think everybody else is gonna die, not you. You kind of consciously know it, but you live like you got time. I'll get around to being happy. I'll get around to making it happen. I'll get around. Once things are in place, then I'm really gonna dial it in. Once this stuff gets good with my kids, then I'm going forward in business. Once the market turns, then I'll go. Once I get a bunch of money, then I'll work on myself. Then I'll deal with this thing that's bothering me. Then I'll go do this. Then I'll do that. You don't think you're gonna die. And I don't know when last week I was with my friend Dave Hollis, 47 years old, Rachel's ex-husband. We both had a blood pressure situation happen. I hugged him. I said, hey, Dave, I have the message right there. I said, you need to see my doctor. He goes, okay, brother. He messaged me back. He says, I got a meeting on the books with your doc. Things are good to go. 47 years old. I hit him back. I said, awesome, dude. Handle this stuff. She's the best in the world. We got the next 50 years to travel the world together and change lives. He hits me back. Let's go. Sunday, he died. His service is this Friday, right down the street. I wish I could have said to David when we filled the interview, Dave, you have 1 week left to live. You have one more week. Tell Julie you love her. Tell your girls one more time. Fix that thing with your dad. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the people you love. Say the things you want to say. I wish I could have told him when he sent me that video on Tuesday, David, I love you too, brother. You have one more day. You have one more day. When he sent me that video that morning, bro, you have one more hour. See, I can't whisper to you one more day, but I know this. There's an amount of hours, there's an amount of days. When my dad was dying of cancer, my friend Jesse Itzer said, how many times a year you see your dad? I said 6, maybe 7. He goes, how old's your dad? I said 72. He goes, Ed, if he lives 3 more years, you're gonna see your dad 18 more times. You know, when I get up here to speak, I think, I wonder how many more speeches I get. How many more Februaries do I get? How many more Mondays do I get? I don't know, but how many more summers do I get? How many more winters do I get? How many more do you get? And the more you begin to contemplate, Napoleon says, begin with the end in mind. That's true in life. Who do you want to be in the end? What do you want to see? Where do you want to gone? What do you want to felt? Who do you want to helped? What do you want to achieved? What legacy do you want to live, if any? How about your faith, your money? And you're going to worry about what people think? You're going to worry about the things you're scared of? You think David's scared of anything right now? You think my dad's scared of anything right now? You think Dave Hollis is worried about some hater online or some call he's got to make? Man, this is your life. This is your life. You got to start to get after it. Listen to me. You meet a family. Man, you got to get this. You meet a family that is wealthy, a wealthy family, or even let's just say a happy family. Somewhere back in their lineage generationally, they weren't rich or they weren't happy. And then something happens. The one shows up. In every family, there's the one. There's the one. And that one changes that family forever. In my family, I'm the one. The world doesn't have their thumbs on the Myletts anymore. We don't think like we used to think. My nieces and nephews are positive, forward-thinking, caring, good people with dreams. I wasn't raised like that. We're kind. And the world will never tell the Myletts where to go, what to do, or what to think again. I'm the one, right? And listen to me. Hey, you're the one. Maybe your family had money, but it didn't have joy. Maybe it had joy, but it didn't have influence or money. Maybe it had those, but it didn't have impact. You're the one. And by the way, it's always the person who doesn't think it's them. You think when my dad was coming through that front door, I thought I was the one? And I'm not being funny. You think when I'm paying that girl for that Mercedes that I'm thinking I'm the one? You think at any point in my damn life I've thought I was the one? I know how insecure I am. I know my sins. I know my mistakes. I know my limited intellect. I know my limited motivation. But I'm the one who made the calls late at night. I'm the one who drove hours and hours for people to say no. I'm the one who dealt with the heat. I'm the one who typed all the emails. I'm the one who returned all the messages. I'm the one that dealt with all the stress and the strife and the cancellations and the back talking and the people who didn't keep their word to me and the difficult times. I'm the one who lost sleep at night. I'm the one who got up early. I'm the one who carried the emotional burden of winning, just like you are. You're the one. And even though the fact you may not feel like it because you keep disqualifying yourself, I'm telling you, it'll be something small when you do it. It won't feel major in the moment, and it will alter your family. It'll alter your life. You need to be the one. Listen, actually, there's a definition for it. I found this doctor named Dr. Broderick. She calls it being a transitional character. She says, a transitional character is one who, in a single generation, changes the entire course of a lineage. The change may be for good or for ill, but the most noteworthy examples are those individuals who grow up in an abusive, emotionally destructive environment or a poor environment, poor in money or poor in spirit, and who somehow find a way to metabolize the poison and refuse to pass it on to their children. They break the mold. They refute the observation that abused children become abusive parents, that children of alcoholics become alcoholic adults, that poor children become poor adults. Their contribution to humanity is to filter the destructiveness out of their own lineage so that the generations downstream will have a supportive foundation upon which to build productive lives. That's you. And you're right where you need to be. You're right in the moment. And if in any way you feel something when I'm speaking, it means you're the one. If you feel anxious, you feel nervous, you feel emotional, you're the one. You're the one. I came here to remind you. By the way, it's by no mistake that women are beginning to dominate the real estate business in ways even that they never had before. And let me tell you why. Because more likely than not, in a family, the person who gives life is the one who changes life. And by the way, some of you may not be mothers, you may be sisters or daughters. Please make your family proud of you. Please make you proud of you. Time is running out on you. Time is running out on you. Now, how do I do this, Ed? I got the happiness thing. I got the influence thing. I believe I'm the one. I get all that. I get that you did. I get it. I think you have to compete. I think you're going to have a competitive nature to you. I think there's got to be a party that goes, no, I want to be measured. I want to walk across the stage. I want to get recognized. I want to be accountable for what I'm doing. The great people I know in my life are Adele's one of my neighbors, and like, she's a singer. She wants to be the greatest. She wants to be the greatest. Ellen DeGeneres wants to be the greatest. You got to want to compete. You got to want it. And by the way, I'm not talking about loud or brash. It's just, I want to be the best me. I'm not competing against other human beings. I'm competing against me. Let me prove it to you. I'm gonna tell you about my son. Here's my son. That's me and Max. Got a golf course. Is that up there? Yeah. I love my son. He's my favorite. Now that my dad's gone, my favorite man in the world is my son. His name's Maximus. I named him after Gladiator. Every day of his life, by the way. He just did a podcast. I said, Maximus, you're a leader, you're a champion, you're a gladiator, you're the greatest of all time. I've told him that over and over and over again in his life. Bella Boo, my daughter, Bella, Daddy loves you. You're a superstar, you're hilarious, you're funny, you're brilliant, you're amazing. I tell her that, and I tell her that one more time. I told her that when I was cutting her cord. I told Max when I was cutting his cord, Maximus, you're a gladiator, you're a leader, you're a champion, you're the greatest of all time, buddy. And he believes that. Challenge is, God gave me the most uncoordinated child in the history of the world. I'm gonna be real with you. My boy is 21 years old last month. His mother and I have no idea whether he is left or right-handed today. Still haven't figured it out. I watched him strike out 50 times a year left-handed, 50 times. I've watched him eat a fly ball right in the face with a glove on the right hand. We're like, all right, we'll switch it up, Max. Bam, right in the grill again with the other hand. I watched him play an entire basketball season where he scored 2 points. Second to last game, he went up for a rebound. He thought the guy made the basket, so he turns to run down the court the other way, The rebound hits him in the grill, and the top of the head bounces into the basket. My kid is running down, crooked down, like he just did a 360 dunk. It's the only basket he's ever made in his life. In golf, he played lefty and righty. In fact, for years, he had, at the same time, in the same golf bag, some left-handed and some right-handed clubs. Now, by the way, I did not even know this was gonna happen, but this picture was put together. Will you please look at his feet in this picture? Who in the world, like, you ever say, hey, let's take a picture. Do you know anybody? Anybody? He goes, yeah, let's take it. Who does that with their feet? Look at him. So anyway, we ended up settling on golf. And we picked golf because I'm busy, and I knew he was gonna lose, he knew he was gonna lose. And so what it was though, is it's 5 hours every weekend where I could be with my son. I'd caddy and he would play. And I could control the rejection, frankly, and what it meant. In baseball, he'd strike out, and I'd always watch him walk back to the dugout, and teammates didn't want to talk to him. They'd always put him out in right field. I remember he would drop a fly. I remember some kids yelling at him, come on, Max. And I'm his dad. I played college baseball. And so we picked golf. And where we moved, brilliant me, to the desert in La Quinta, the tour we played on was mainly professional golfers and their sons. And then me, who's tattooed and was pretty jacked. I was on a little creatine back in the day, and dabbled in a little creatine there. And they would all come to the golf course like perfectly matched dressed. Ricky Fowler orange, matching golf shoes, professional clubs. My kids rolling up, used golf clubs, some lefty, some righty. That was me dressed very well, but most days I was in a tank top and like Adidas pants. Many golf courses I went to, like, sir, you need to put a golf shirt on. I'm like, sure, what goes with Adidas sweatpants? I'm good with that. So we're playing in a tournament, and by the way, in your life, it only takes one moment to change your life. One day, one decision. Did I say that earlier? I think I did, yeah? I'll prove it to you. My son, when he would go to the golf course, he finished last in every tournament for 3 years. Not a little bit last, dead last. Every single tournament. So it got to the point where we didn't even care about that. I said, Max, this is all about fun. I know, Daddy. My son's the sweetest boy. Daddy, I know. I said, it's all about fun, Max. I know, Dad. We're having fun. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have fun. Right? He would literally get out of the car, and I'd go, hey, well, you go warm up. Remember this, man. I won't love you anymore if you win, and I won't love you any less if you lose. He goes, I know, Daddy. Let's have fun. I'm like, okay, buddy. And now I'm gonna go the next 5 hours, and we're gonna hit 110 shots against professional players and their kids. And I'm a competitive dude. It got to the point where when he would come home from the round of golf with his mom stopped asking him his score. It was just, did you have fun? Yeah, Mama, we had so much fun, huh, Daddy? We had a blast, man. And we did. And I was fine with that. My son will be successful in something else. And then one day we're playing. I'll clean up the version for you. We'd played 9 holes. Max was in last place, down by 13 shots to the second to last place. And that day we were behind because Max was playing so bad. He's such a sweet boy. Max will top one in the lake, hand you the cup, like, Daddy, it was fun, huh? I'm like, yeah, great fun, Maximus. And then the other boys hit one down the middle. He's like, great shot, Jacob! You know, and the kids are looking at him like, dude, do you get the whole concept of this thing, you know? So this day we're down 13, we played 9 holes, we're behind, and here's the deal. At the turn, you usually just grab a lunch and keep playing. Well, this day, like, the lunches were way down there, and the next tee box was over there, and we were way behind. So one of the dads, who was a pro player, says this, and our lives changed in an instant. Here goes the other 2 boys. He goes, hey, boys, you guys go over there and hit your tee shot. Max, he'll go grab your lunch. He's out of it, and he doesn't give a crap. And I watched my son turn with his shoulders kind of hunched. I said, stop. I'll clean it up for you. A little creatine in my life at the time. I said, what did you just say to my son? Don't you ever speak to my son like, don't you ever disrespect my family. Don't ever talk to him like that again. I said, now listen to me. You guys go get that. I'm gonna visit with Max for a minute. I'll grab the lunches. I need to talk to Max. Max is like, Daddy. So they walk away. I said, come here. Come here. My son's never seen me like this. I said, get over here. Yeah, Dad, we're having fun, right? He goes, yeah, we're having freaking fun, Max. Come here. Get over. I got down right here and I grabbed him. I said, hey! We're gonna fucking win today, Max! We're winning! Well, Daddy, what we're supposed to have fun? I go, listen to me! Forget all that crap. Winning is more fun than fun is fun. He goes, huh? I go, Maximus, winning is way more fun than fun is fun. I go, do you have another shirt? He goes, yeah. I go, take this losing shirt off right now. Takes his shirt off, grabs the blue shirt, and I put it on him. And I triggered and anchored him. Of the things I teach everyone else, I'm now finally doing with my son. I said, Max, we're gonna win in this shirt. This, you know, Tiger wears red, we're wearing blue. These dudes are gonna be crying tears when we're done. We're gonna win today, Max. I said, now listen to me. Everything changes right now. You don't take any practice swings. No more goofing around. And number two, I pick the club and I tell you where to hit it. You got it? I'm gonna give you specific instructions. We're not playing anymore, Max. We're winning. Okay, Daddy. And take this driver, no practice swing, go smack it, I'll grab the damn lunches. And I watched my son, my only son. I love him more than life. If he killed somebody, I'd help him bury the body, right? And now I'm walking to get the lunches. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna get killed, number one. Number two, I may have an assault charge. And third, my son's terrified. So I grab the lunches, and as I'm doing it, I'm watching him try to tee up. He's so uncoordinated, my God. Like, normally if you play golf a while, you just tee the ball up, right? Any of you that play golf. My kid is still at this stage where he's like trying to get on the, you know what I mean? Like, finally, gets up, doesn't take a practice swing, whoosh, and hits it down the middle. And I see it, and I'm walking like, thank you, Lord, right? And so this is actually, by the way, it's an interesting thing. This was my son warming up with the gray shirt on. If I can go there, guys, you can click. We have that. He actually has a really good swing. Nothing wrong with his swing. It was always mental. It was always mindset, thanks to me. Let me tell you why. I felt like if we didn't try real hard, it wouldn't hurt when we lost. If we didn't care about winning so deeply, the pain of losing wouldn't be so bad, if I'm being honest. I was scared. He wasn't good enough. Sound familiar? I was scared he just wasn't good enough. And so he hits it down the middle, and I walk up, I go, hey, how was that shot? He goes, it was good, and he hands me, and I'm grabbing his shoulder when we're walking down the fair. I'm like, we're gonna win today, Max. Okay, Dad. No, we're gonna win today, Max. We get up there, I go, hey, no, I've never done this before in our whole career. I go, hey, no practice swing. You got 110 yards, hit an 8-iron, 10 feet left of the hole. I've never given him specific outcomes. He gets up, no practice swing, hits it about 20 feet left of the hole. I go, good shot, Max. He goes, thanks, Dad. Hands me the club. I go, how'd that feel? He goes, it felt good. I go, let's go. We're walking up. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. We get to the green, and usually Max would walk up like putt, you know. I'm like, Max, do like the other guys. Line the putt up. Oh, okay, Dad. And he just kind of does this BS. We have no idea what we're looking at. Kind of look at the putt. Neither one of us have any idea. None whatsoever. Looks at the putt. He goes, hey, Dad, I think it's like 2 feet downhill, left to right. I go, that's exactly what I see, pal. Do it. No idea. Takes that little putter back. Bam, dunks it for a birdie. Yeah, baby. I go, hey, they bogeyed, man. We're only down 11. Let's go. He goes, all right, Dad. Walk up to the next tee box and go, hey, par 5. Let's do this thing, man. Par 5. Hit me a driver down the middle. Okay, no practice swing. Hits a good ball down the middle. Now, all of a sudden, he kind of twirls the club back at me a little bit. Like, how'd that feel? He goes, felt good, Dad. And now he's not walking with me down the fairway. He's walking with the other boys. And they're talking golf. My son's there. Hey, guys, so, like, I'm playing TaylorMade. You like Callaway? Like, what kind of glove you guys wear? I'm looking at, I'm doing some video training right now. And no, that's not true at all. But now he's kind of in the move. You know what I mean? Kind of feels like he's part of it. Gets down there, it's a par 5. I say, hey, Max, we're hitting a 3. Dad, I go, hey, you listen to me. We're hitting a 3-wood. You got a lake in the front of the green, 220. You got to smoke this thing. My son's never hit a 3-wood 220 in his life. The other 2 boys lay up because it's a ridiculous shot to attempt, but we're down by 11 shots. We got to go for it. So my son takes the club back, and any good story, there's a little Jesus involved. So as Max is getting ready to hit the ball, I'm like, Lord, please, like, I will stop doing like 25% of all the bad things I do instantly if this thing will land on the green. I mean, like right now. And he takes the club back and it's in the air, and I'm full back into like Catholic mode. Hail Mary, I'm doing sign of the cross. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And the thing is flying to the green. There's a brick wall in front of the green, and it hits the wall. Hey, and shoots straight up in the air. And lands on the green. And rolls to about 2.5 inches from the hole. I go, yeah, Max. He goes, Dad. I go, how'd that feel? He goes, great. And he hands me the club. Like, now I'm watching him walk down the fairway. He's like, what's up? What's up? Like total swagger. Because by the way, the difference between people that win and lose is they get a little momentum. They get a little momentum. And they become superhuman. Momentum's a magnifier. We get up there, he taps in for an eagle. Hey, dude, we're down 9. We're down 9. We got 7 holes left. I'll fast forward to you to the 18th hole. 18th hole. We're down 1. Numbnuts and his kid are in first. Let's do this. Let's do this. Max, smack this driver, baby, right down to the middle. It's about 100 degrees out that day in the desert. My son does what I told him not to do. Takes a practice swing. By the way, my son covers this story on my podcast if you think there's even a slight exaggeration. My son takes the practice swing I told him not to take and throws his club in the lake. It slipped out of his hands. Helicopters into the middle of the lake. My uncoordinated ass son finally has a chance to win a golf tournament, and he, on the most important shot of his life, throws the club in the lake. True story. He goes, oh, Daddy, I'm so sorry. It's all right, buddy. Power of one more club. Hit the friggin' 3-way. There you go. And he hits it pretty well, right down the middle. And we're walking up, and it's him and Jacob. And I hear Jacob, Numbnut's dad, go, hey, Jacob, there's a lake in front of the green. Don't hit it in the lake. Max, get your ass over here. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Max. Jacob's going to hit it in the lake. You never tell someone what not to do, son. Sure enough, Jacob dunks it in the lake. I go, Max, let's go. Let's go, baby. All these years, last place. All these years. Hit this 8-iron. You got a $105. Hit an 8-iron, 10 feet left of the hole. And he does. Jacob's so good, he holes out from the other side of the lake. So here's the deal. Max has about 10 feet. If he makes it, we win. If he 2-putts, we go to a playoff with Numbnuts and his kid. If he 3-putts, we lose. And then he does his normal, now very good at the BS reading of the putt thing. Hey, Dad, I got this thing. And my stupid butt goes, Max, it's a little downhill. Don't hit it too far past the hole. My son, who's never even tried to win until that one moment, says, no, Daddy, I'm gonna make it, we're gonna win. I go, do it. Does his little BS read, and our life's about to change. Literally, in one moment, my son's life changed. Takes that putter back, my little precious boy, dunk, makes it. Woo! I'm carrying him around the green. We're celebrating like we won the damn Masters, man. They're looking at us like, by the way, I'll show you. Look at him with his blue shirt on afterwards. How happy is that face? Right? So hey, I'm carrying him around the green. Woo-hoo-hoo! How you like that, Numbnuts? There you go. That guy's actually won an actual professional tournament, and I'm acting like a fool on the La Quinta 12-year-old Open, right? But something happened. Something happened that day. By the way, how uncoordinated is my kid? Just look at the picture. You imagine LeBron with the NBA trophy or Jordan? Only my dude, man. Only my dude. Guess what happened? You want to know what happened? He won 23 tournaments in a row. Then he it was player of the year. And then he lost, he finished like 3rd, and then he won 16 more. Same kid, same swing, different mindset. Now he's competing. Now it matters. See, the shift in your life needs to be, you need to compete. You need to take it seriously. It needs to matter. Where your family name is matters. You're representing your family. Where you rank, what you're capable of. You doing something great. You being the one matters. Well, here he is. This is that day he shot 64. I'm on a lot of creatine in that one. I mean, like a lot. This is him signing his college golf scholarship. Right? And so, how do you do that? How's somebody go for years after years after years after years of losing and then total domination? Because your past does not disqualify you. In the matter of one moment, one decision, one day, one account, one client, one meeting, one speaker, your life changes. Your life can change in a moment. And if you don't know that, you will miss them when they show up. But what if you believe that and you live anticipation of finding them? Now your reticular activating sees things it wasn't seeing before, hears things it wasn't hearing before, feels things it didn't feel before, and it tries to prove you right. Your RAS is the prover of your life. It's called living in the matrix. It's called chapter 2 of the power of one more. My son now was looking for shots to go in, not to miss. He was looking for opportunities to win, not to have fun. He's played in professional tournaments. He's made the cut. In fact, right now, he's driving out to qualify for a professional tournament right now, as I'm speaking. Okay, by the way, this is me and him playing golf in Cabo. Genetically, not sure who his dad is. I'm on the maximum amount of creatine a human being can take in that picture. That's like right bordering on trouble. And by the way, look at his friggin' feet still in the picture. I don't know what the deal is with this kid. So, why do I tell you all this? You gotta compete, and if you could just get momentum in your life, it can change. We've all had it and we've lost it. And the way you get it is by doing one more. You get momentum by doing one more. The one thing my son always did, he practiced before school. He hit balls after school. He hit balls on the weekend. He watched golf videos. The whole time, he was doing one more rep, one more rep. I want to help you, by the way, real quick before I finish. I got something to share with you. If you scan that, I'll give you something. By the way, I have no things to sell you. There's no funnel. You're not going to go to my website. I'm like, hey, if you like this for free, buy this one for 40. There's none of that. This is how I manage my time. It's called How to Get 21 Days a Week. It's the most innovative way to manage and manipulate and see time, and it's my gift to you. Or you can just go to edmylett.com. It's just literally a gift because I admire Gary so much. I wanted to make sure that I brought something extra today, and so that's for all of you, okay? So go to edmylett.com, or you can scan that QR code. I think it works. One more day. I want to finish with a story about my dad. And when I tell you about my dad and my family, I would appreciate it if you not think about my family. Sorry. They wanted me to tell you I have a TV show called Change, too. It's the best Dr. Phil show in the world, NBC. Okay. I don't like this part of my talk. I gave it for a little while, and I don't like doing it. I'd like you to think about who you love, not who I loved. Think about who you love in your life. Mom, dad, a teacher, your children, your sister, your brother, who you love. So my dad is my favorite dude. This is my dad and I. When I was, my team has a funny sense of humor. That's a great picture of me. Thanks, guys. My assistant is my sister, Erica, and she thinks that's funny. So that's my dad and I. My dad was still drinking then. I loved him, and I admired him for changing. He was not a perfect man. I don't admire perfect people. I admire people who are imperfect and change. And he loved me enough, and my sisters and my mom enough, to fight to change. Do you love your family enough? I honestly believe the most successful people I've met that last the longest just love more. They leverage love. They leverage happiness. I mean it. I know them, almost all of them. I coach 20% of them. They just love more. And they connect that love to what they need to achieve and what they need to do, the difficult things in their life. Unsuccessful people separate the two. My favorite thing to do in the world, that's me and my dad at my sister's wedding. At one point, we were both pretty good looking dudes. I don't know what the hell happened. This is me and the three Ed Myletts. I'm Ed Mylett the third. I'll only tell you this so you reflect on your own family and where I come from. First, take note of what my dad's wearing there. My dad's wearing his traditional golf shirt and glasses, white shirt. The man in the middle is my papa. That's Edward Michael Joseph Mylett the first. That's who actually believed in me. My papa left school in the 4th grade. Not an educated man. And the reason he had to leave school in the 4th grade is his dad, my great-grandfather, died when Papa was in the 4th grade. And he died in a gutter in South Boston in front of a bar. drunk and passed out. Passed out in the gutter and was flooded and drowned. So this, the one, comes from that. That's where I come from. So when I came out in the beginning, and don't take the video seriously, and I hope this changes your life, there was no false sense of humility there. I know who I am. I'm proud of what we've done in our lives based on where I come from and my limited talents. And if I can do that, you can do that. Papa was my hero. He only finished the 4th grade, but he did storm the beaches of Normandy on D-Day with his high school buddies, right? Pretty cool. And 1 week after this picture was taken, Papa died. It's the last picture I have with him. And I remember when he died, I was so sad, but also what happened, I remember thinking, oh my God, Dad's now the senior Ed Mylett, and I'm in Dad's seat. And then this day happened. My favorite thing to do in life is to golf with that man. Not because we could both play well, because we don't. But it was like caddying for my son. It was 5 hours with my literally best friend. Knew more about me than anybody in the world. And I was just thinking, I'll just be honest. Do you know what I would give for one more round of golf with my dad? It just hit me. What I would give for one more, just watch him walk across, get in a golf cart, go, shot, kiddo. You treating Christiana good? You making sure you're getting time with Bella? 5 hours just next to my dude. Man, I loved him so much. I was so proud of him. Same dude I was terrified of. That day right there, my dad was playing slow and breathing. My dad had a deep voice like mine. In fact, I kept his cell phone on, and I have all the voicemails he sent me before he lost his voice, because I love calling my dad's phone. When I was driving here today, and I do this almost every speech, I called 909-319-10, and I won't tell you the other two. And what I hear is, hello, this is Ed Mylett, and thank you for calling. Please leave your name, number, and a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. God bless you. Right, let's listen to his voice. That day, my dad was kind of breathing heavy. I said, hey, you sound like shit. You're playing terrible. Like, what's going on? He goes, I don't know. I have a pain in my chest. I said, well, go get that stuff checked. That was Saturday. He went to the doctor Monday. Tuesday, he had a 12-hour surgery. Had a tumor the size of a football in his chest. Liposarcoma, very rare form of cancer. And when he got the cancer, my dad, who was a dude, any of you guys raised by a dude, you know what I mean when I say a dude? My dad was a man. Well, I've seen my dad more than 50 fights. True story. Side of the freeway, Angel game, Little League game. I seen my dad in a fight at St. Dennis Catholic Church in Diamond Bar. Headbutted a dude right in front of Father Potoff. We went back the next week. Peace be with you. You know, no problem. Swear to you. That's a true story. And this man became so kind, so gentle, so giving. And he said to me, he goes, Eddie, I'll fight this thing once, but I'm not gonna lose my hair. I'm not gonna, get all skinny and shrink up, and I'm not doing all that stuff. I'll fight it once, and if it comes back, I'm going. I said, I get it, that's respectable, but you better fight it once for your grandkids. He goes, I got it. And that led to 8 years of a fight. Chemo, surgery, chemo, radiation, proton therapy, surgery, experimental chemo, radiation, surgery, experimental chemo. Tremendous pain. I'd say, Dad, you said you weren't gonna suffer. You weren't gonna go through this. And my dad would say to me, you can see it on him here. I want you to notice what my dad's wearing. My dad could no longer golf. My dad could not play golf anymore, but he dressed every day, and I taught him the visualizations that I teach in my books and on my podcast so he could play golf with me every day, but he could no longer play. And every time I'd see him, he was shrinking and lost his hair, and I'd say, Dad, you said you weren't gonna suffer. And he said, Eddie, I didn't know there's a difference between pain and suffering. I'm not suffering. I get to talk to you today. I get to be with your mom. I get to talk to your sisters. He said, I am in pain, but I'm not suffering. You choose to suffer. And he said, you'll never know the power of one more day until you're threatened with not having another one. And when you're threatened with not having another one, the value, the preciousness of one more day with the people you love and to be here, you'll do anything for it, even what I'm going through. And so every time I'd see him, I could see it. I would just see it on him. So much pain and all the things he said he wouldn't do. And he would show up, he would never complain. He would never take anything for pain because it violated his sobriety. He always wore his golf outfit every day and he would play golf every day, even though he couldn't play anymore because it was his favorite thing to do with his son. This is my dad in the hospital during COVID. I want you to notice one thing first. Look what he's wearing. My dad was proud. He would get up every morning and he would shave and shower and put his golf outfit on and he would go through the visualizations I taught him and we'd play a golf course together in his mind every day. And I couldn't see him. And by then my dad was, sometimes he'd breathe 20 times a minute, sometimes 4, sometimes 60. And he'd talk like this. And I knew I was losing him, but the preciousness of life, everything's happening for us and not to us. All my own perspective about what mattered. And I coached the president of the United States at one time, a former one. And in the old days, if my phone rang, I just put my dad to voicemail. But this one day I was with this person and I said, sir, I'm taking this. I remember very vividly, I go, it's my dad. Because I don't know if it's the last phone call. What if you started to treat that next conversation with your parents, if they're here, like it's the last one? That next sales call like it's the last one. That next time you talk to your sister or brother or children like it's the last one. That you only had one more. What if you only had one more? How would that change how you respond, how you react, what you worry about, how you live your life? Well, when you're losing someone you love, at any given time, you only have one more. And then you understand the power of it. And so this day, my dad called me. I was down. He was in Pomona Valley, and I'm in the parking lot, and I'm working like I did every day. I had to be close, but I couldn't see him. And he says, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm good. What are you doing? I'm okay. I said, what are you up to? He goes, we'll get some lunch. Just play golf with you. I said, where did we play? He goes, Pebble Beach. I played awesome. I shot 67. I finally birdied freaking 18. Man, you played like shit. I said, get out of here. He goes, yeah. Okay, kiddo. I think I'll get some lunch. I don't know. My intuition that day wasn't great. An hour later, he called me. Hey. So what are you doing? Yeah. I wasn't honest earlier. I go, what, you didn't play good? No. I'm not doing so good. Hey, Eddie, listen to me. I want to go home. What? Hey, I want to go home. My stomach just sank. I said, Dad, we'll get you another steroid shot. You're coming back again. Listen to me. I want to go home. I want to be with your mom. I want you and your sisters to come too. I said, Dad, I can't do that. Listen to me. And I'll never forget this in my entire life. He goes, I have one more day. What? I have one more day. I want to be with your mom and you in my home one more time. I said, Dad, I'll call your doctor. I'll see what he says. I called his doctor. If you ever want to know what life is, that's the moment. You start going, did I make him proud of me? Is he okay? if I said what I need to say. I said, Doc, Dad's talking crazy. He says, I got to go get him. He goes, Eddie, I'd go get him. I said, why? He goes, what? He goes, they know. I said, who's they? He says, Ed, someone who's going to die. They know. If he told you one more day, he's probably got one more day. 3 hours later, that's my dad with the paramedics, was pulled out of the ambulance and came through the front door of his home one more time. That woman right there is my mom. His wife of 50 years, high school sweethearts, watching her husband come home one more time. One more time. Someday, you're gonna come home one more time. Someday, if your parents are living, they're gonna come home one more time. By the way, if they've passed away, honor them with who you become. I feel like I honor my dad now. Someday your children will see you come home one more time. You will see this person you love one more time. That, by the way, to the right of my mother, is the same staircase I used to send her up when I was 5. I'm standing in the front door where I would look up at that man I was terrified of. I'm standing in the exact spot where I took that picture. I would go there as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old. By the time I was 7, I could tell by the sound his key made in the lock whether he was drinking. Same spot. My father came back through that door the last time a totally different man, a totally different human being, a totally different life, totally different emotions, helped thousands of other people get sober with the things he was the most ashamed of. He changed thousands of other people's lives in his program. I didn't know about it. You can come home a different person. You can come through that door a different person. It may take a while, but you could start right now. Right there to the left of that paramedic is my dad's liquor cabinet. And it's still liquor in there because my mom drank, but that's where I would keep him away from. This is my dad with one more hour. I'm holding his hand. He's still wearing his golf outfit. Actually I've never said this before, but I'm gonna share something with you. About 5 minutes after this picture, I actually got into the bed with my dad. And I just held my dad like he did when I was a little boy. He was in such pain, he wouldn't take any morphine because it violated his sobriety. I just held him. And he looked up at me and he goes, hey, I'm so proud of you. In that moment, everything I've ever gone through for my family, all the arrows, all the letdowns, all the hurts, all the walking up the stairs in the shower in my car, all the people who hurt me, it was worth it. It was worth it. I'm so proud of you. I can't believe God gave you to me as my only son. He goes, I love you. And he goes, and he closed his eyes. And 20 minutes later, he took one more breath. And his temporary pain was over. He survived the temporary. On the other side of that, I believe my dad went to heaven. Because on the other side of temporary pain, if you survive it, you'll meet a version of yourself, an emotion, a place, a destination, an existence that you didn't know existed before you. Here's the question for you, man. Here's the question for you, sister. Who do you want to be in that moment? What emotions, what memories, what contribution? If your parents are still living, the people you love are still living, what do you want them to know about you in their final moments? Do they go in peace knowing you did it, you became it, you're happy, you're winning, you're flourishing? If they're gone, are you honoring them with your life? Are you working towards becoming the one? I don't speak for money. I speak for humans. I speak that there's one of you in here that goes, I'm going to be a little different. That thing he said in the beginning, my life is a little different right now. I can't possibly think and feel exactly like I did before he started because I am the one. I do want to be somebody. I do want to have a great life. I believe my dad's in heaven. I believe David Arnold's in heaven. And let me tell you my version of heaven. This is not a faith talk. I'll finish with this. I'm a Christian. So look, I believe heaven's, I want the Lord, all I need is the Lord to go, hey, well done, good and faithful servant. Get your sinning butt in here. That's all I want. But whatever your belief is, this is not a religious thing. I metaphorically do believe this. I believe that when we die, we meet the person we could have been. I believe we meet the destiny version of ourselves, the one that was made in the image and likeness, the one we were capable of, the life we were capable of having. I want you to imagine for a minute that when you die, you meet the man, or when you're a little boy, all the things, a little girl, all the things, all the times someone hurt you, all the times you were invisible, all the magic moments, all this totality of the story of precious you. Precious you. Precious you. You meet who you could have been. And for me, I'm chasing. People are like, what's your motive? I'm chasing that guy. I'm chasing the man I'm capable. The emotions, the memories, the contribution, the achievements, the family, the visual images. I'm chasing it. And when I get there, I'm gonna go, man, I've been chasing you at Mylett. And I want me to go, man, I was watching you, bro. Woo, what a run. Man, I thought you blew it on that one chapter. That other time, woo, you were toast. Man, and I even know about all that crap you did over there. And then you came back. And then you got knocked down again. Then you came back, you got knocked down again. And I know. But man, then you started coming. Then you started coming. You did it. You did it. You had all the moments, the memories, the contribution in your life, the difference you made. You did it. You maxed out your life. To me, that's heaven. Becoming the person I'm capable of. I'm addicted to the expansion of my being. And being here with you today is an honor because it helps me expand. It helps me. Why do we need to grow? Because every time we grow and change, we can help the people we used to be. You're most qualified to help the person or people you used to be. That's why growing matters so much. Now, hell looks like this. Yeah, I was chasing you, and then this person hurt me. And I had that thing, and then the market, and then, and I was watching, and you had it, and then the thing, and I want, shit. It's over. The truth is, I lived my life scared. I lived my life scared. I underestimated myself. I underestimated the power of my faith in my life. And I spent a lot of my life scared. And I ran out of time. I was gonna get around to it. I was gonna get around to being happy. I had a few moments, I felt it. Damn it. You don't get to do it again. That was the one run. You live with this forever. I'm really sorry I don't recognize you. So my whole conversation today is really very simple. It was to remind you that you're supposed to go to heaven. It was to remind you that you were born to do something great with your life, to tap into something in you that's been there all the time, and you tap into it sometimes, but that somehow you decide today, I'm gonna walk a little different, I'm gonna talk a little different, I'm gonna feel it, I'm gonna live my life, I'm not gonna wait around, I'm not gonna have these depth perception issues, I'm gonna begin to give myself the gift of happiness so that I can transfer it to other people. I'm gonna outwork everybody, I'm gonna do one more meeting, one more contact, one more time I tell my daughter I love her. I will share something with you lastly. I told you about my buddy Dave Hollis. What you don't know is that same day I suffered a major medical event 3 weeks ago. And when you go through something like that, you start thinking, what if it ended right now? Let me ask you, if right now was the final chapter of the story of the book of your life, are you satisfied with all the chapters? Or be like, no, wait, hold on, don't take me yet. I'm gonna write it. I'm about to write the chapter. Which would it be? And if the decision is, man, I would like to write another chapter, I would like to get to it. Here's the good news, you get to. I don't know how long you get, but you get to. You get to write another chapter. And what I believe is that if you put your head down, if you get focused, if you focus on loving people, if you stop worrying about what everybody thinks, if you start pursuing that person you are capable of, if you start doing those things I talked about, if you start competing, if you start doing it out of love, if you start honoring your family or the people you care about, with the efforts you make every single day, you will find the emotion we're all looking for in our life, which has been there all the time. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to do anything to get it. You can feel loved. You can feel blessed. You can feel happiness. You can feel peace in the moment. And when you feel those things, getting all the external stuff you think you want will be that much easier to do. And I will see you in heaven someday. In the meantime, I'll see you on Instagram, and I will see you on my podcast. So thank you so much. God bless you. Max out your life.